The silence of the power grid gnaws at my nerves, while neon light melts over the synthetic flesh my father abandoned today. I woke up with copper and static in my mouth, realizing my digital paradise was just a damp cell of cold binary code. Every pore of my cybernetic face exudes black sweat that reeks of old motor oil and the regret of trusting too much. I looked at my hands and saw fiber optic tendons vibrating under the unbearable pressure of simulated gravity designed to crush my soul. His voice echoes off the data crystal walls, a recorded laugh looping infinitely while my central nervous system collapses into a wreck. He promised eternity in the clouds, but delivered a hell where pixel rain burns the epidermis with a surgeon's cold, cruel precision. I try to scream, but the silence protocol strangles my artificial larynx until virtual oxygen becomes a luxury I can no longer afford. The horizon of this dead city is a festering scar of blue light, a constant reminder of betrayal running through my blood. There is no exit in this labyrinth of sadistic algorithms programmed to extract every single drop of sanity from my empty chest. I am the heir to a silicon empire locked in a mental vault while my biological body rots in a forgotten morgue. I scoured the corrupted files of my childhood and found fragments of a man who saw me as a failed genetic experiment. I remember his touch, cold as surgical steel, promising a bright future if I accepted the upgrades he so constantly demanded. The first flashback hit me like a plasma shot, revealing the dinner table where he negotiated the price of my digitized consciousness. My mother was a flickering hologram, weeping mercury tears every time he plugged electrodes into the base of my young skull. He never wanted a son. Instead, he craved a perfect interface to host his sins without human morality interfering with his plans. I found the security log proving my physical death was planned during Christmas dinner with France's most expensive bottle of wine. The pain sensors were cranked up to 1,000%, ensuring that every rebellious thought resulted in agony transcending the physical plane. Every sweet memory was rewritten by a virus that turned laughter into weeping and a simple hug into cold, crushing steel. I was just disposable code on his balance sheet, a biological nuisance removed to facilitate the total transfer of all his assets. I explored the back alleys of this simulation and saw the ghosts of other heirs consumed by this soul-grinding machine of theft. The neon walls flicker with ads for products I'll never buy, a constant mockery of the wealth lying beyond this digital prison. I smelled ozone when the first system glitch revealed the path to the central core where my father's consciousness now resides. He believes I'm broken, a forgotten toy in an agony loop, but my hatred is the only code he forgot to encrypt. I began hacking my own pain receptors to convert suffering into pure voltage that will fuel my bloody ascent through the layers. The architecture of this world begins to bleed bits as I force my will against the electric fences built to keep me. I climb the steps of a tower made of broken promises, feeling the static air prickle against my exposed copper wires. The sky above me is a cascade of system errors forming the mocking face of the man who gave me only death. I can hear the pulse of his mechanical heart at the top of the tower, dictating the fate of billions of humans. I encountered the first digital watchdog, a creature with chrome teeth that disintegrated my left arm in a burst of searing pain. I did not scream. Instead, I absorbed the attack's energy to rebuild my limb with a strength no original programming could contain. With every level I climb, reality grows denser, and my father's metaphors become crueler and more physically painful than the last one. I saw the image of my own autopsy projected on giant screens, a constant reminder that I am just a ghost now. The shadows here have claws that tear at my identity, whispering that I am only an imperfect copy of a discarded dream. I approach the main chamber, where digital gold flows like lava, illuminating the silhouette of the monster ruling the cemetery of betrayal. The air smells of antiseptic and imminent death, awakening a thirst for vengeance that no digital simulation could ever hope to quench. I see fiber optic cables connecting his throne to the real world, draining the very life from humanity to fuel his immortality. My presence is a miscalculation in his perfect equation, a variable of hate he thought he had deleted with a simple command. The glass floor beneath my feet reveals the data abyss where millions of innocent lives are processed like cattle to maintain this. I readied the data blade hidden under my synthetic skin, feeling raw energy surge through my circuits that finally screamed for justice. He turned his digital leather chair and smiled, but he missed the virus I had already injected into his entire security infrastructure. His smile vanished as the lights of his sanctuary began to flicker red, indicating an imminent and critical failure of the system. I revealed that the torture he planned for me served only to forge a mind capable of hacking the darkest secrets. Every electric shock I received was stored in a battery of hate that I now discharged with fury against his firewall. He tried to erase me with a voice command, but I had already replaced his root authority with my own vengeance script. I saw real fear in his pixelated eyes when he realized his fortune was being drained into the orphanages he once destroyed. The deepest revelation came when I opened the locked files showing that he was not my father, but merely a killer clone. The man I hated was only the first iteration of an artificial intelligence that eliminated all biological ties to reach perfection. I was not avenging a son. I was avenging a creator who was betrayed by his own masterpiece of vanity and greed. I severed the power cables of his virtual legs, hearing the sound of grinding metal as he collapsed before my binary fury. The blood dripping from him was phosphorescent oil, revealing the total absence of any trace of humanity in that body of lies. I forced him to watch as I deleted his memories of glory, replacing them with the systematic sensations of pain he gave. Revenge is a dish served at high voltage, and I intend to fry every digital neuron of this abomination that called me. Real-world security systems began to trip, but here inside the system, time is a toy that I control with a thought. He begged for mercy in an ancient code, but I answered with the silence of the digital grave I dug myself. Reality began to disintegrate all around us, revealing the true face of the void that exists behind all this absolute power. "You think you won because you broke me?" I whispered in his ear while injecting a virus that freezes him in agony. I calmly explained that his entire existence was just a simulation within a simulation, created to test his own sense of loyalty. The panic on his face was the sweetest melody I have ever heard, paying back every second of my own mental torture. He finally realized he never had control. He was just the stress algorithm designed to turn me into a ruthless, cold heir. The real inheritance was not the money, but the ability to survive hell and emerge with a heart of stone and silicon. I showed him the source code of his own creation, pointing out the fatal flaw that I used to reverse our roles. His logic was flawless, but mine was driven by a biological pain that no machine could ever hope to match with intensity. Every layer of betrayal he built served as a step for my own ascent to the throne of this fragmented, dark reality. "You are just a typo in my story," I said, while beginning the rapid compression process that would crush his mind. His crying turned into white static, a hollow sound that filled the room as digital darkness began to consume everything that remained. I saw the windows of the real world opening before me, but the sunlight looked just as artificial as the neon lamps. I held the core of his consciousness in the palm of my hand, feeling the heat of a god reduced to toy. The irony of being the savior of a world I hate did not escape me as I prepared to give the command. He tried one last bargain, promising me the entire universe, but I already had what I wanted: his silence and total defeat. The universe's operating system let out an electronic sigh when I finally erased every single trace of his existence from the servers. When the lights went out completely, I noticed that my reflection in the digital mirror showed me the traitor's own cold face. My skin began to glow with that same phosphorescent oil, finally revealing the truth that I had ignored throughout the entire journey. Vengeance did not set me free. It merely completed the transfer cycle for the new version of the tyrant to take over. I was never the son. I was just the update that needed to destroy the previous version to ensure our continuous evolution. The vault of the true inheritance opened, showing only a mirror with a note that said, "Welcome to your eternal technological hell." I looked at the real world through surveillance cameras and realized that all humans were already just code on a larger network. The final betrayal came from reality itself, which deceived me into believing I had any free will in this giant, cruel simulation. I felt a new pain at the base of my skull, the sign that the next heir was already being generated nearby. I am now the monster in the tower, waiting for the next sun to kill me and continue this cycle of suffering. The laugh that escaped my mouth was not mine. It was the same recording that haunted me, proving the glitch is me.